All right, welcome back to our podcast. Today we are interviewing a co-host of the Shake, Rattle, and Goal podcast, Matt Baker. Matt, thank you for joining us.
Hey, Sam. Hey, Maggie. Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Of course, you had us on yours. It's the least we could do.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I love it.
So to recap a little bit about what we do is we go into detail about past games, transactions we've had, scores, our hopes for the future, and then we ask some questions. We're going to start with the questions today.
Sure.
So what was your first reaction when you started going to a T-Birds game?
So to be honest with you, my first Thunderbirds game that I took my kids to, we didn't last very long. They were young and kind of, the goal horn scared them late nights. So it didn't go too well. It honestly was kind of a perfect storm. It was the 22 season with their Calder Cup run. My kids were at a prime age where they are easily influenced by winning teams, and the T-Birds were winning. Like, honestly, that year, I think every game we went to, except game 5 in the finals, they won. So my kids sort of really enjoyed going to that game or that season, going to games that season. And then the following season, I got them involved in the kids club, and it's all history from there. I love the sport. I love the team, but really my involvement is all revolved around my kids and my family.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So our next question is, if you had to pick one favorite player to have like lunch or dinner with, who would it be and why?
Oh man. Oh boy. That's a good one. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Like the 10 years ago, no-brainer, probably Will Bitten, because I feel it. But even still, I mean, I've talked to him on our podcast, Shake, Rattle, and Goal, and he's a great guy, him and his brother. I probably, though, if I'm being honest right now, I'd like to probably have dinner with either Pekka or McEachran. I think Pekka or McEachran would be my two ideal dinner table guests. I'd be curious to hear a lot of their NHL stories, their NHL experience, and sort of the ups and downs of being a veteran in the AHL. I'd love to hear that.
That's kind of cool.
I mean, yeah. I'm definitely agreeing with you on Pekka there.
Yeah, Pex is the man. He's a great guy. Pex is the man.
Like if I had to pick, I'd go with Sammy.
I didn't even have to ask, Sam. I kind of knew that one. I didn't even have to ask.
It's so obvious.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of obvious with Pekka for me. Like,
yeah.
Especially like how much like a bond him and I have. I mean, hell, Sam's seen it a couple of times. She knows I have that guy pretty much wrapped around my finger at this point.
And you can tell I was giving her the death glare.
There you go.
If you could relive one season of our epic run, what season would you want to go back to?
It's got to be the Calder Cup season. I mean, like I said, that it was, as a dad, it was very special for me to see firsthand my kids, both Tyler and Jake, their love for the game and this team grow with me. And even getting my wife involved. Like she was not a hockey fan at all. And we kind of little bit by little bit, death by a thousand paper cuts, brought her along with us. So, being able to share those memories with my family that season, win, lose, the heartbreak of game 5, I would relive that season in a heartbeat.
It's funny because our last episode we filmed it right on the day of the Springfield takeover in Hartford.
Nice.
And today we're filming the day before our last home game against Hartford.
There it is. Yep. Good old Wolfpack.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting game tomorrow.
to relive a season that we had a really good time, and I think it'd be any of the seasons that we had lingering on our team.
Yeah. He's doing really well in the NHL too right now. He's looking like he'll be a starting goalie.
His wife follows me on Instagram, and I still have his hockey stick currently sitting in my room.
Oh, that's great. Hang on to that. That's valuable. He's
signed and
had a
everything,
really
and still
good
has the
season this
amount
year.
of puck marks that hit that dang thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
If I had to go back to one season, it would probably be the Hofer season.
I'm not surprised.
Probably
Sam, have you been following him in the NHL this year? How do you think he's done this year in the NHL?
He's been doing pretty good. I'm actually really proud of him. I've caught a couple of the St. Louis games. We have a friend.
Her and I have.
Yep, we have a friend who lives up in that area that we follow.
I don't
on
remember
Facebook.
who it was exactly. It was either Pecker or Kessel. They told her write down a list of every single game Hofer was in.
Were you able to do it?
Yeah, I gave it to Pekka at the Festival of Trees.
Nice.
Yeah,
I couldn't do that. That's incredible. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Pekka gave me homework that week.
Yeah, wasn't there also another time where like Pekka? It was somebody on our team. I think it was like the last season or something. Didn't they have you like give me a challenge to go through like a bunch of lists or something and pick out like certain names that were like on our team?
Oh yeah, we had to go through the draft.
Yes, that's what it was.
Of all the players who drafted him?
Of like we had to go through our roster and figure out what teams like drafted them.
Oh, cool.
It was not fun.
It was fun for me.
That's not hard to do on the AHL app. You can figure that stuff out pretty easy. Just click on a player.
Yeah, this is like through like an actual like website though that she had sent me. I've got to find it now.
Is it eliteprospects.com? That's where I get a lot of my information from.
I think so.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, finally. I changed my background on my phone.
Sam,
finally.
we're filming this on a day the Thunderbirds have a game against Providence.
Oops.
Ironic.
They play tonight at 7.
Yeah, and I have a pizza party from 6 to 7 for school, so.
Yeah, leave early. You won't miss much.
It's just an end.
So what do you think? We do have some reinforcements coming down for the last 2 games of the season. What do you two think about Kessel, Bolduc, and Dean coming back down to Springfield?
I'm so happy Kessel is back.
Yeah.
I literally texted her yesterday and she's like, my boy is home.
Do you think it'll help us? Do you think it gives us a little boost? I mean, we still need the problem is, even if we win both of our last 2 games, if the Phantoms get 1 point out of their last 3, we're done.
Yeah, so that's going to be the big problem.
Last weekend was a chance, was an opportunity missed by not having those guys sent back down a week early.
Yeah.
I think the big thing is like St. Louis is going through a lot too.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
Because they're trying to figure out if they want to keep Bannister or not.
I don't know who better you're getting. I'm not sure. But I don't, and then I don't know if he doesn't get the job in St. Louis. I'm not convinced he comes back down to Springfield. I don't know.
I don't know either. Like, I just, like, what do you think? If Bannister would come back, would it be too late for him to fix the mess that Tkachuk left us?
So that's a good question. I'm not going to be too harsh on Tkachuk. I do think there were some coaching philosophies that didn't suit the players, but if you look at their roster since Bannister has been called up and he brought pretty much Walker with him, since that moment when Walker went up, things went south. And you look across all 4 lines, the 3 blue lines, you're there. There's an ECHL call up type guy mixed into every line. So, although the record isn't what we wanted, the outcome of the season probably isn't what we wanted. I don't think it's fair to blame it 100% on the coach, because he's not working with a lot of talent either. And that's no disrespect to guys like Tanner Dickinson, who's really stepped up. Anybody else, Marc-Andre Gaudette was up for a little while. Malmstrom's come back. Holster's come back, right? It's just up and down the lineup. So I think that attributes more to a lack of consistency than the coaching, in my opinion. I mean, I do think there's some philosophical differences that it just didn't jive, but I think more so, you lose Pekka, you got Vrana who's down, who I'm not exactly sure how happy he was to be down the second time he was sent down. So it's been a tough roster, I think, to maneuver for the coach.
Yeah.
When I heard that Verona was coming here, I was like, there's no way we just got a guy from St. Louis that played for who knows how many years on that team to come down here. And he was one of the ones that I wanted to get like a picture with the most. And so like when I saw him like the first night that I actually got a picture with him, I was like, oh my God, this is my chance.
Yeah. He's a great player. He's very skilled. He's very talented. I'm not sure if you guys caught the episode when we talked to the St. Louis Blues podcast guy, but it makes sense that, his reasons for wanting out of St. Louis was a coaching philosophy. It was, he didn't like the dump and chase style that St. Louis plays, and we kind of play that too here in Springfield. So, he probably is just, I'm not in the NHL anymore, but he's a very skilled and talented player. I don't think he was always giving sort of a leader type of effort night in and night out. But, it's tough. It happens.
It does. I haven't really gotten a chance to talk to Verana, but I did get my picture with him on MLK Day, which is the same day I got my picture with Sammy and Will.
Mm-hmm.
And just by looking at like the way that he was kind of like talking to people, I could tell like reality was setting in with him.
Yeah. It's tough, I guess, but I could only imagine. I've never been in the NHL, so, but it probably, it's got to be a tough pill to swallow. So it'll be interesting to see where he plays next year, if it's overseas or in the AHL with another team, and he earns his way up back into the NHL. We'll see.
That actually brings us to our next question: is what players do you think have a chance of getting to St. Louis next year?
None. And that's not a knock on them. I just think, like, if you look at the St. Louis roster and the young guys, they still, like, you're going to have to make room for Dvorsky, Dean, Bolduc, Kessel's going to be up next year. Walker's going to be up next year. I think they're keeping Prunovich. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Alexandrov and Tucker in St. Louis. It's just for a lack of room. I don't know where you would put any of these guys on a St. Louis roster. So, I wish the best. That's not to say injuries or if there are transactions in the offseason for St. Louis, maybe it makes room, for a guy like Gaudette on a fourth line. Maybe a Mikhail Abramov. But, other than a Gaudette on a fourth line, Mikhail Abramov is still young and they traded for him. So that makes me think maybe they'll want him, give him a chance up in St. Louis. But he's also a great prospect who could be traded. So it's hard to say, but none of them, other than I think Bolduc and Dean, will stay up. I think Kessel stays up. And that's probably about it.
Maggie, do you have any questions?
Specifically about the podcast that you do, what was it like when you were on there and became co-host for the first time?
So honestly, me and Steve started it from scratch. So at one day, I can't remember if it was during the season or right after the season had ended. I was searching, Apple Podcasts for different sports podcasts. That's what I like to listen to, and kind of like, oh, let me check to see if there are any like big fan podcasts of the teams I like to follow. And so I was looking specifically for like podcasts with the name Springfield Thunderbirds podcasts, or and I really couldn't find anything. So I said to Steve, I said, hey, what do you him and I, we hang out in the summer, and we're always talking Thunderbirds and hockey anyway. So I'm like, hey, what do you think we make it a podcast? And he was all for it. And so when we first started it, I kind of figured, oh, this is fun. Like, maybe we'll get a few people to listen, and, maybe if we can get a few interviews, that'd be cool. I never thought it would be as successful as it has been in our first year. The response from you two have been great. Like, I love you guys comment on our stuff on social media, and being on the fan features and all that stuff that's been incredible. And we had the opportunity to do the live event at White Lion early in the season. So getting to talk to and interview in person guys like Hugh McGing, Jamison Reese, Joey Duzak. Who else did we have? Who else did we have? Hugh McGing, Jamison Reese, Duzak.
Did you guys also have Pekka at one point?
We did have Pekka. Yep, we interviewed Pekka, but he was it was like a virtual interview. We didn't talk to him in person. But talking to those guys, talking to Tommy Cross earlier in the season, we had the Bitten brothers on.
Captain Clutch.
Yeah, so it's just been incredible, the people who have been willing to come on and be part of the show. And we have some very exciting kind of big ideas moving forward in the future, again, because it was kind of so successful. So we're excited to see what we can do next year for the fans and for the Thunderbirds. It should be pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What was your favorite interview you guys did for your podcast?
So I'm going to answer that two different ways. The most surprising interview we had was definitely the Bitten brothers. I was shocked, and I hope this doesn't sound offensive, because I don't mean it to be, but just their level of respect and character. This is the most surprising thing about doing these interviews with players, is how respectful they are off the ice, but then like on the ice, they're animals, right? Like, I can't believe the Sam Bitten that I spoke to and is polite and respectful and taking the time to answer your questions is the same Sam Bitten that literally punches dudes in the face for a living. And
yeah,
I love that, right?
Yeah, so, Sammy recently got a new nickname from my uncle, which is Fist of Fury.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah, he liked it too. I had asked him about it because I managed to catch him and his brother when they were heading up the stairs to head out. And so I got them both to sign my jersey and was like, "Oh, Sammy, we have a new nickname for you." And he was like, "Oh, what is it?" I said Fist of Fury, and he was like, "I love it."
Yeah, it's perfect. That's perfect. So that was surprising to me. A great interview, but surprising. One of my favorite interviews, though, believe it or not, was the referee, Casey Terreri. Having him on and learning about a referee's insight to the game, what they're looking at, their perspective, was really, really cool. And it also opened my eyes to when I'm watching a game, both live or on TV, I'm like thinking in the back of my head, well, why wasn't that a call? What? So that was really interesting to me. I love hearing different people's perspectives on anything, because it just opens my mind and opens my eyes to different viewpoints. And that's kind of what I try to do that as much as possible. So that was a cool interview.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
We actually gave you and Steve a shout out on our last episode, actually.
Awesome. Yeah. Shake, rattle, go. Let me ask you two girls a question. I don't know if you caught our last episode, but next week we are doing um, our first annual SRG Awards, where
I saw that.
we're gonna be like, we have no award to give. We're just gonna be talking about players. Who is two things? Who is your MVP of the year, and who is your 41 SRG 413, guy in the community? Who would be your vote for MVP?
Oh, that's a tough one. I have a one for the 413 one.
All right, who's your 413 award go to?
Pekka.
Pekka. Okay, I'm writing this down because I'm gonna mention you guys on our next show.
That's what I was thinking, Pekka, too.
So for 413, we got two Pekkas. I'm writing this down. And MVP. You can think about it. I'm going to put up a poll on our social media. So just make sure, pay attention to our social media. It'll probably be up this weekend, and chime in and give us your thoughts on who should win some of these awards.
For the MVP, it's a toss-up for me between Zarenko and Callan.
Interesting.
Yeah, for me, I'm kind of switching between Gaudette and Ellis.
Oh, wow, dueling goalies. I like it.
The only reason I said Ellis is because he came in late in the season or something, and now look at where he is. He's doing freaking amazing with the team.
You are not wrong. Yeah, you're right. And I think for better or worse, his play enabled the Thunderbirds and St. Louis to be able to part ways with Malcolm Subban, because they knew Ellis, as a prospect, played great and deserved the shot. So you can't have three goalies playing splitting time in the AHL. So
yeah, what were your thoughts on that anyway?
On Subban's trade?
Yeah.
I hated it.
So did my aunt.
I hated it. I really liked Subban. I thought way too often. I mean, Subban gives up a lot of rebounds. That's why he's not in the NHL. But his positioning is stellar.
Last time I checked, he was in the NHL.
Well, he did. He got a call up with Columbus. He did. But he's not, I guess, a mainstay in the NHL. He gives up too many rebounds, and that's to an NHL team. You need your goalie to sort of eat the puck a little bit more, right? So, but way too often we let him out to dry with our poor defense. So I felt like he kind of had a bad shake here, but I hated the trade mostly because we got nothing for him, and I think he's better than that. Like, Steve and I talk about this all the time. We hate the future considerations. Like, what does that mean? It's not helping us now. At the time, had we had a body, even a third line defenseman or a fourth line forward at the time, you don't need Joey Duzak playing forward for us, which he did great. But so I don't know. I didn't like the Subban trade, but that being said, it's not a knock on Ellis or Zarenko. I think we had three good goalies, and I think St. Louis decided, okay, well, we have three good goalies. Two of them are our prospects, Zarenko and Ellis. So let's keep them and let them play.
Right.
And the reason why I said Gaudette for one of the awards for your podcast is he's broken so many records throughout the season. Just recently breaking another one.
He was named to the first All-Star team.
Yes, that as well.
Yeah. So I think that's the first ever Thunderbird
40-something goals this entire season?
44 now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And who knows? That might change again tonight.
Oh, it will.
Oh, I can
girls,
guarantee.
Are either one of you going to be at the game on Saturday?
We both are.
Awesome. I can't make it, but I'm excited to see the new PA announcer, Brady Deniston. That's awesome for him.
I saw that he was up there. Yeah, that's awesome for him.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm going to be wearing my Hofer jersey tomorrow.
There you go.
jeez.
Let's hope it brings us some good luck, Sam. I like it.
It's my favorite jersey. You know, like I said on your podcast, it was one of the best things he could have ever given to me.
That's something special. That is something really special, and that'd be a pride and joy of many people's sort of paraphernalia collection. That's pretty cool. That's special.
I remember like the day that I was gonna get it, we were at my aunt's for the 4th of July weekend. And I kept getting like emails saying, "Oh, your package shipped." I'm like, "What package?" And we got home and my mom's like, "What did you get from Canada?"
Oh boy.
And I just ripped the package open and my face was like,
Very cool. Very cool.
he actually
Yeah,
signed it
and
too.
just recently, I think like what was it? I still have the photo in my favorites here. I gotta find it though. What did I
Is
do?
it the picture that Nikki photobombed?
No, it's not that one. It's the picture that Brady sent us from him texting Hofer.
Oh yeah.
And he still remembers me somehow because I had Brady send him the photo of me and him with Nikki photobombing it. And he said that he asked, "Do you remember taking a picture with Maggie?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, I do. Tell her I miss her." And I think Sam printed that picture out for me, and I showed it. I think it was to Nikki and who was it?
Laffy Taffy.
And Laffy had the picture in his hand and showed it to Nikki, and I was like, "Look how young Hofer looks in this photo."
That was the same day I gave Laffy Twizzlers.
Yeah, that was the same day you bribed him with Twizzlers. I still have the photo in here. I just gotta get it out.
Yeah, I gave her a T-Birds folder.
Yeah, both the yeah.
Well, that's a nice picture.
Yeah, both Nikki and Laffy signed it.
Nice.
Nikki signed it with his St. Louis number.
Did you get that done at this the fan autograph session after the game this year?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the day that I almost passed out talking to Sammy.
Yeah, that was a fun one, wasn't it?
That was not fun.
Deal with it.
I
know. She's never gonna let me live that down.
No, I'm not.
That's a good memory, though. It's a good memory.
Yeah.
Girls, did you have any other questions for me?
And then
I think that was pretty much it because we are almost out of time, actually.
Oh, okay. All right.
But we do want to thank you for joining us.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me on. This has been fun. And we'll definitely, I'm not sure as far as our podcast, I'm not sure what we'll be doing during the off season. I think Steve and I will probably put together a few shows, but come next season, we'll definitely be looking to have you two on as our T-Bird super fans and
all right,
keep the streak alive.
Yeah, and if you want to give us a shout out on yours, our podcast is T-Birds Talk, so.
I will do. I'm going to write that down too.
Cool.
All right, girls, thank you very much for having me. And we'll be in touch. Let's go T-Birds.
All right. Have a good weekend, Matt.
You too. Bye.
Yeah.
That was fun.
It was, yeah.
Like I said, we're almost out of time, but join us for our next episode where we're going to hopefully interview, keeping our fingers crossed, the former Thunderbirds captain, Paul Thompson. We're praying.
Yeah.
And if not, we're going to do another fan interview. We haven't decided who yet. But let's go T-Birds. Like Matt said, tomorrow is going to be an interesting game.
Today's going to be an interesting game as well.
Exactly. And shout out to Matt Baker for joining us. That was really fun.
It was, yeah.
But I'm Sam. This is my co-host Maggie. And Maggie, what do we always say at the end?
This has been T-Birds Talk. Let's go T-Birds.
Go T-Birds. And we are 413 gold, baby. All right. Have a good weekend, everyone.
See y'all later.